Okay, let's get on to Sunday's action in the Barclays Premier League. The opening gambit was from the King Power, and it's Leicester at home to Arsenal. Team news: Iniacho was in for Maddison. He's out with a hip injury, and they've had a lot of injuries lately, Leicester, but they're still battling on, so to speak. Of course, they've got no Perez either. For the Gunners, Willian and replaced Saka on the wings, and Pepe was selected. Saka on the bench with Aubameyang, and so off we went, and early promise from Leicester, and they were rewarded on 6 minutes. Arsenal lost the ball near the halfway line, and the ball was picked up by Tielemans. He ran hell for leather towards the box, and for some reason, Arsenal's defenders decided to back off. Once he got into the box, he had an opportunity, and he accepted it, and a sweet shot beat Leno in his right-hand corner, and Leicester had taken the lead after 6 minutes. Arsenal are making a habit of going behind early on, but after that they sort of recovered, and Pepe and Willian on the flanks started to look quite dangerous. 12 minutes, Pepe clipped a ball, in the box, or so we thought, by Tielemans. The referee awarded a penalty, but our VAR actually reversed that and said it was just outside the box. Ndidi was responsible, not Tielemans. Read that one wrong. But it came to nothing. 20 minutes, Barnes had a shot from 25 yards. It was punched away by Leno. And then on 26 minutes, some nice interchange between the Gunners midfield. And Willian had a snapshot, and that was just outside the box. But better effort from Arsenal, and they were certainly looking more impressive. 39 minutes, they had a free kick on the right, and Willian, who was taking more responsibility, this was a training ground move. He found Luiz just inside the penalty box, and Luiz, with a very clever diagonal header, flicked the ball wide of Schmeichel to level things up. Well, it got even better in added time, because Ndidi inadvertently handled the ball in the box. No doubt that it was a penalty, and Lacazette stepped up and pushed it wide of Schmeichel, and so Arsenal went into the break 2-1. Let's be quite honest, after the break, Arsenal really dominated, and it was no surprise when they added to their tally when Pepe finished off a nice move, again an assist by Willian, and that was 3-1 to the Gunners. After that, Tielemans had a shot from distance, 82 minutes, well wide. Leicester seemed to lack the will, really, to fight back. And it really was quite a poor performance in the second half, and relatively comfortable for Arteta's men. And at the final whistle, he praised his players, not surprisingly. Rodgers, no complaints about the injuries, but he was clearly disappointed. So that was about it. Full time at the King Power then. Leicester City 1, Arsenal 3. Next up was the match at White Hart Lane, the new White Hart Lane. Spurs at home to Burnley. There's been a lot of talk in the week that possibly Mourinho's job was under threat. I just can't work that out. Although, to be frank, Spurs have lost 5 of the last 6. But they did well in the Europa League on Wednesday, and Mourinho selected a powerful side, certainly a lot of attacking threat. He had a Bale in from the start alongside Son and Kane, with Moura just behind them, and an attacking outfit it certainly looked. And it didn't take them long to get into their stride. Some nice work by Son on the left, and a diagonal ball was delightfully anticipated by Bale, missing the offside, and he stuck a leg out and prodded it past Pope, and that was 1-0, and we'd only had a minute on the clock. Terrible marking by the Burnley back four, but that was the beginning of what would be a good afternoon for Bale. Lots of anticipation when he returned to Spurs after the Real Madrid debacle, but he hasn't really set the world on fire, but perhaps this was going to be his day. And a fraction wide from Kane on 6 minutes, but then Burnley had a half chance up the other way and with Rodriguez, and then another delightful bit of play by Son, laying it off to Moura, but his effort, they managed to get a block on it, but they couldn't do much about 14 minutes. Coming out of defence, the ball came to Bale, and he hit a wonderful long-range pass up the left side, which Kane anticipated. He cut inside, and he let rip, and it had a slight deflection as it whistled past Pope, and that was 2 up, and we played 14 minutes. By the time we got to the half hour, a cross from Region found Moura, and he swept it home. This was after a poor defensive clearance and a really ruthless finish from Moura, and that was 3-0. And Spurs, full of confidence, were threatening to give Burnley a real pasting. The second half, things quietened down a little bit, but on 55 minutes, another opportunity involving Son and Moura. They managed to get the ball out to the right to Bale, and he cut inside and from the edge of the box hit a beautiful curving left foot shot that hit the post but also the net. That was 4-0. After that, really, Dele Alli came on and he was looking lively. Pope managed to keep the score to 4. Up front, really, Burnley, well, they were non-existent. Wood came on, but it was far too late. A very happy Mourinho at the final finish. Spurs back to winning ways then. Full-time score at the new White Hart Lane. Spurs 4, Burnley 0. United, they had a fixture against the champions Liverpool. Liverpool 4 defeats in a row. The unimaginable. Would it be 5 today? And I think the last time that happened was something like 60 years ago. The Blades, Basham was out for them. Norwood and McGoldrick in up front. For Liverpool, let's have a look. Henderson, he's the latest star on the casualty for Liverpool. Alisson was also not available. A bereavement had forced him to go back to Brazil. Adrian was in for them, for him. An early chance for McGoldrick from a free kick, a header, but Adrian managed to push the ball away. Mane put in Firmino on about the 16th minute, but Ramsdale was good enough. And he made 2 more crucial saves before the break. But we got there goalless. But didn't take long for Liverpool's superiority to tell. On 48 minutes, some great work by Alexander-Arnold, who had a great game on the right, managed to get to the byline, and his pinpoint pass found Jones just inside the box, and he swatted the ball home. No chance for the keeper on this occasion, and that was 1-0 for Liverpool. They got another goal on 64 minutes. This was after some clever work by Firmino. His final effort, though, was going wide, but it had a ricochet off Brian and went in the net. And so a comfortable 2-0 now for the Reds. And they basically sauntered to the finish line. And they were relieved to get a win after dreadful 4 defeats in a row. On interview, Klopp was delighted, and realistically, Wilder was now painting the inevitable that his side were going to be relegated from the Premier League. So final score at Bramall Lane, Sheffield United 0, Liverpool 2. The final 2 games on this Sunday night, and these are going to be very brief highlights. First of all, Stamford Bridge, Chelsea at home to Manchester United. I'm glad I didn't stay up to watch this because it was a very poor effort, very defensive, very few chances at either end. The odd save from Mendy and De Gea. The most significant moment was when the referee felt that Hudson-Odoi had touched the ball with his hand in the penalty area when he was going for the ball with Greenwood, and it also looked like Greenwood had touched the ball with his hand. On closer examination, it looked like the first touch was Odoi's, but VAR decided it was Greenwood's, and so no penalty was awarded. In interview at the end, Solskjaer was convinced that they'd been robbed, but Tuchel, of course, saw it the other way, and we actually saw a display of sort of aggression on the touchline by the 2 managers, and most of it was coming from the German. But the result of all of that was that it was a dull, goalless draw, which really didn't help either team. Final score at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0. The second match, Crystal Palace at home to Fulham. Well, Fulham bossed this one. Palace, we saw very little of them up front. But their goalkeeper, Gaeta, played a big part in keeping a clean sheet with the help of Cahill and others in defence. Loftus-Cheek looked in good touch, and Fulham certainly had the better of the chances. But this one rolled towards a goalless draw as well. So final score at Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace 0, Fulham 0. So that's your lot for this round of matches in the Premier League. Right, so let's just summarise the activities over the weekend then in the Barclays Premier League. I'll just quickly run through the state of play in the table. Of course, we've got one match outstanding. That's the Everton versus Southampton game, which will be played on Monday evening. But currently 26 matches played for most teams. Man City at the top with 62 points. Manchester United on 50. Leicester remaining in third on 49. And West Ham remaining fourth on 45. Fifth are Chelsea on 44. Closely followed by Liverpool on 43. Everton on 40, but they do have 2 games in hand. And Spurs on 39, and they have a game in hand. And Arsenal are next on 37. Let's quickly go down to the bottom of the table. The bottom 6. Sheffield United at the bottom with 11. West Brom on 19. Fulham on 23 points. Newcastle are now on 26 points, the same as Brighton, with Burnley 2 points ahead of them on 28. And they've all played 26 games. So that's the state of the Premier League at the end of match day 26.